everyone, and October is National Bullying Prevention Month. And I'm out there every single year for that moment, but I'm out there all the time. And one of the things that I want you to know that is really, really special is I'm going on a campaign. And whether I do 8 states or 9 states or maybe even 12 states, if I can do it all in 1 month, it's up to you. Because when you tell me, hey, Gabriella, reroute to our school, our community centers, and please come and talk, I will do that. Unless you really send me somewhere where it would be 5 days to travel by car. But I will come to your neck of the woods. But what I would like to discuss for a second is how you can help. Is if you take our slogan. So last week I came up with the slogan, blame is not the cure, action is. And I really want to use it for this Bullying Prevention Month because this is the way I think. When I'm out there, I keep hearing that everyone is to blame. So the teachers are to blame for the situation, the parents. If there is an unfortunate incident, then they say, well, it's normal that this child bullies because it comes from a broken home. And it goes on and on and on and on. This is not how we solve problems. This is not the way that it works. The way that I feel that we could make a difference, all of us, is when we're together. Stop blaming. Let's have action. And the first action that I would like all of you to do today is take the poster, take our slogan, blame is not the cure, action is, take it, post it anywhere and everywhere. You can find it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google+, on Instagram, everywhere. And then please use the kindness hashtag, the kindness lifestyle or kindness lifestyle. That would be awesome. And if you can't remember that, then please remember, dare to be kind.
Dare to be kind. Welcome to MomTalk. I'm Dr. Nelly. It's a pleasure to have Gabriella Van Rij today here on MomTalk and to talk about kindness today. It's such an important topic, and whether you're an educator in schools, whether you're a parent, whether you're a citizen of this global world that we live in, that we're so connected with, kindness is at the heart of the matter. So we're here with Gabriella. Welcome to MomTalk.
Thank you for having me.
And what a message, what an action, what a way to really pierce into the hearts of those who are interested, they're compassionate, they want to take action, but perhaps they need a little bit of help and encouragement, and for you to show the path and to connect people so that they can take those steps towards action.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that people want to be kind, but we don't always know what to do. And our innate shyness and not daring to go out there kind of stops us from being kind, because people sometimes say, you know, you look grumpy or this or that, and you're not at all. But it's this kind of, you know, distance that we have between people because we think that's kind of the norm and that's expected of us. And I'm breaking all the rules, and I feel that if you put yourself out there, then kindness comes back like a boomerang. It only grows and grows. But one of the most important parts of the message is I would like people to learn to be kind to one another, that people that we know, that we usually ignore. That's what I'd like to see. Not the random acts of kindness that we often talk about. Because it's easy. For example, you see an elderly walk and cross the street with a heavy grocery bag, I will help. You will help too, because that's natural. But I'm talking about the kindness that doesn't come so natural. The attendee at a parking lot that you see every day, but you've ignored them. Not because you really mean to, but because it just isn't on your radar. To reach out to those people that you see every day. The girl that serves you coffee. All these people are part of our day-to-day lives, but we don't know them. Those people, let's reach out to them because we can actually help them.
And I love when you talk about how kindness is related to connecting sort of people, the relationship, and noticing, seeing perhaps what we don't usually see or don't intend to see. So it's shifting our intention towards communicating, that you are seen?
It's one perception at a time.
Yeah.
I personally am not asking anyone to change. This is one of the first things that I hear everywhere. Oh, she wants to change me and we need to be this or that. You are perfect with every imperfection that we have. We're all perfect. And I'm the first one to say I'm hopelessly flawed, but I love it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be perfect. But with the kindness, first of all, I think we're born with kindness. I really believe that. And I think that we know that because that's why everyone loves babies so much. There's just something about them. And that little toddler that takes the first few steps, we know it because I think we recognize it. And then we get scared. We start to learn to communicate in schools, in places where we are rejected. And the moment these shifts happen, we forget kindness. We just do. And by this time, you're 30 or 35, you get your own children, but you forgot it. And then your child brings it out in you again. And then by the time you're 50, 60, you forget it again. And they're cycles. And I'm saying, let's not make this a cycle. Let's make it permanent because December is such an important month of giving. And I'm not talking about the gifts under the tree. I'm talking about communities reach out to homeless people. Communities reach out to children all over the world that are hungry. There's so much giving. If you look around, there's so much stuff going on. So couldn't we take this moment to say, what can we do in our lives to make kindness a habit and make it a choice? I would love to see that on the top of the to-do list for the goals of 2017 instead of at the bottom.
How beautiful. And so for those of you who are joining us on Mom Talk, بینندگان گرامی، با خانم گابریلا ون ری هستیم. ایشون قصه زندگیشون و اون داستان زندگیشون و چگونه از کودکی با یک نیاز یا یک انگیزه به سوی مهربان بودن، مهربان زیستن، با مهربانیت کار کردن، عمل کردن و امروزه به اینجایی رسیدن در زندگی و شغل و کارشون که تمام توجه و اتانسیونشون رو گذاشتن روی kindness، مهربون بودن و اینکه علم مهربونی چی هستش، چگونه میتوانیم با هم بهتر مهربون باشیم و چه کارهایی همدیگر رو انگیزه مهربان زیستن رو در ما بالا میبره. ایشون نویسنده 3 کتاب هستند. وبسایتشون رو که مشاهده میکنین gabriella.global هستش. روی وبسایت کتاب‌های ایشون، سخنرانی‌های ایشون، تمام کارا و فعالیت‌های اجتماعی که ایشون میکنن در رابطه با پیس لرنینگ و ارتقاء مهربان زیستن در کامیونیتی و کارهایی که ایشون میکنن هستش. اگر که دوست دارین با ایشون در تماس باشین، حتما به وبسایتشون برین و join the community. صحبتی که امروز میکنیم کاملا در رابطه با این اوقات و ایام کریسمس هستش و اینکه چگونه ما میتونیم شفقت و کامپشن رو در جامعهمون بالا ببریم در رابطه با پیس لرنینگ و Dare to be Kind campaign. Gabriella, let's talk about your life story. I'm always inspired by soul leaders like yourself and to learn about sort of their own history and their own upbringing and epigenetics and what composes the human being, the heart of your journey, being a human, and your mind. So I'm always so curious and really looking forward to listening and hearing your story. Please tell us about your life story.
I am one of the first cross-cultural adoptions in the world. And that sounds kind of ominous, but I think I'm really one of the first out there. And what I mean by cross-cultural is really from one ethnicity and culture to the next. And this was in 1966. So this was unheard of. Adoption was unheard of, but cross-cultural was totally unheard of. And I am born, this is what I've been told, I am born Muslim baby with the name Naseem. And I was dropped off at the Catholic orphanage in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. And Islamabad wasn't even built back then. And when they brought me there, the person that brought me, they think it was my mother, wanted to run away. And the nun said, please give this child a name and a birth date. It's important. And so the woman did. And so I grew up there for 3 years, and I was lucky because I got adopted by a Dutch diplomatic couple in the Netherlands, of all places. But if that wasn't enough to just make that huge jump over to Europe, I really wanted a family. By this time, I was very vocal at 3, and I still am. And I was a very happy kid, very happy-go-lucky kid. I don't think I ever realized that there was poverty or that my life was maybe not good or, people like to say that to me, but I didn't feel it. And so by the time that I arrived in Holland, I just wanted a family. But I always say adoption came with a price because sometimes we don't think our best intentions are not always good enough. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the West wasn't ready. And so I got bullied for things that I can't change. I cannot change my skin color. I cannot change the color of my eyes or my hair. And people thought it was dirty. So when I went, my parents would give these fancy parties. People wouldn't shake my hand. And I was just an itty-bitty toddler. And I would say to the lady, it doesn't come off. Because she said, you need to go wash your hands, little girl. And I remember thinking, what's wrong?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this picture? And the problem...
And this is 60s in...
This is the late 60s
late
in
60s
Europe.
in Europe.
And
Yeah.
don't forget, this is a time where there is no skin color around us. And I did not know how to go back to my parents. Because how do you explain this to your father and mother that don't have a color? So I kept quiet. Obviously, things like that my dad saw. But instead of addressing it, I often got shooed out of the room, which makes you feel even more inferior. So I think I did develop a real big chip on my shoulder. And the chip is what I always call, translates into anger. So I have a quote that I love, that I am a perfect example of. Nobody strikes another coming from a positive place. So I was positive, but little things compounded. And whether it's me as an adoptee or whether it's you or another human being, we all have this. And so life compounds itself, and then you start being angry because you have this chip. And whether the chip is your culture with, DNA from generations that tell you, hey, watch out, we've been treated badly, it is a chip. And I decided at 15 to let go of that. Very hard to do. So I let go of my adopted family and I said, I can't blame them. I have to live. And that was a valuable lesson to myself because I have to live. And I wanted to be happy.
What happened at 15 for you to make that shift, that awakening, that awareness?
The awakening and the awareness was an attempted suicide. And when I found myself still alive and still angry, and I didn't get the attention I so needed, and I didn't get it at all. I actually got sent away to boarding school. And so I said, what is it that you want, Gabriella? And I said, I just want respect, somehow. And I learned that the respect has to start with me. And I guess I didn't like me. And that was the biggest lesson, and it was pretty lonely. And so when I took that step, I moved to Washington, D.C., of all places in the world, because I write about it. Washington, D.C. in that time, in the 80s, was a place you could disappear. Nobody asked where I was from. It was very easy, the American culture. In Europe, everyone asked where I was from, who I was related to, who's my family. Didn't happen in Washington. I could kind of go with the flow there. And so it was much easier. You don't have to introduce your parents who are white and blue-eyed and very tall and don't look anything like you. So I kind of disappeared into just Gabriella. And that's what I've become, just Gabriella. And at a certain point, you have to go back to your roots. So I did do that, and I still search today for my biological parents. I'm not ashamed to say that. And I think we do, because there are so many unanswered questions. But in the meantime, you have to live life. And when I wrote my first book, which was very scary, and I realized one thing, is if this message could only reach one person that would, just like me, feel a life of not fitting in, of being an outcast, I had succeeded in something. And then against all hope of that, it wasn't just one person, it was many people.
Yeah.
And so when I got invited at CBS Los Angeles on TV, that lady actually said, I really think you should talk to children, because I think there are so many like you out there in today's world. Have you looked at the global kids today? They all look like you. And I said, they do? And she said, they look like you. Believe me, trust me. I have little kids. And so I started looking, and she was right. And what really struck me, and that makes me really sad, is that all the social issues that plagued me are still there.
Yeah.
We didn't grow. We didn't move forward. Those steps, everything that our forefathers did, I don't know what happened. We evolved, and then we got plateaued. And then we did a deep sink down, I believe, and I know this sounds negative, and I'm not, but 9/11 made us plunge back down. And that's when, for me, in my life, racism came back to the surface, and I had to deal with it. And dealing with it didn't mean to say, hey, I'm adopted, because that's like saying, but I'm not Pakistani. That's like saying an untruth. And so I came up with a beautiful line. I have one leg in the East and I have one leg in the West, and it's okay not to belong to either. And I think that we are like that, all of us, you too, because we live here, right? And we have our cultural baggage and pluses, because there's so much richness. I don't know the richness of my own culture. I am ashamed to say that I don't. But I'm also saying I don't because there hasn't been enough kindness. So if there had been kindness coming from the people that I meet, you would think in this day and age, people would be willing to reach out to me and say, I'll teach you. But they haven't. On the contrary, I have heard Pakistanis, people say to me, you're a traitor. You are Catholic today. And I'm like, but I can't be Muslim if nobody teaches me. I cannot be anything if the doors aren't opened. We can only do what we can do. And so the message of kindness really grew from there. My heart belongs to children.
Yeah.
I think if my passion is anywhere, it's children first. And that is at the root, because I wish I had had that friend. I wish I had had that safe place to go to where you can say the most horrendous feeling that you have without being judged. And that doesn't exist for many. And then I realized while I was out there that everything I cried for as a child has become my strength. So all of us, all our pain, all our adversity becomes our biggest ally. And when it becomes our biggest ally and we can turn it into something positive, which is for me the kindness movement, the dare to be kind, because I kind of like to dare children because they kind of dare me back. And it's fun. It's fun and it's motivating. And if we dare to do anything, isn't that better than being at a standstill where we're so scared and so fearful of our own shadow that we're just glued to the ground? That was me as a child. I was glued to the ground. And that's no way to live today. And so with everything that's going on, whether it's political, whether it is in the family, whether it's in our society, all of us need to do more than being tolerant. So all these little parts that seem little, they're actually big, and they're all part of the kindness movement.
Yeah. And I love that if you take this dare to be kind sort of movement or revolution, or if you really believe in your heart that to blame is not the solution, but rather to take an action, whether it's a small action or act of kindness, a random act of kindness, or an intentional act of kindness, that to raise compassion, to elevate kindness and compassion is really a positive peace learning movement, a step towards bringing more peace. And it starts with me, it starts with you,
yep,
it starts with
us.
our community, the schools, and you've really taken it into your own hands in taking action. So
Yep.
you go to schools and you talk to children and you talk about how we've dropped the ball of
On
kindness.
human kindness,
Yeah.
yes.
And your message is just so profound, and I think every school needs to hear your voice and to hear your story, because you have lived the life of someone who had suffering and was able to transform that suffering into being a very conscious, loving, compassionate human being. And you are not only that, but also a soul leader. You're compassionate. You have all this fire and passion in you. And just sitting next to you, I have to say, just the energy is fantastic. Just your ability to move your story and words and life and message into one's heart and to deliver it into the homes of all of you who are watching is really profound.
But one of the things, if anything a viewer takes from this, the children, all ages, whether it's an 18-year-old you talk to that's on their way to college or the 4-year-old, they are the most astounded when I spend time with them. And I really mean time, with really listening. So this is like such a great opportunity during Christmas to put the cellular phones on the side, to really, I say it's all in these intangibles. It's, the kids just want to hear a funny story of something they've done, right, in their lives that touched you as a parent, as a mom. And, but vice versa too. The child has stories about you, of things that they thought, that was funny that dad did or mom did. And they don't get these opportunities because we live in a world that's too fast. And we have 2 jobs to buy the gadgets for our children. But I always say this is your one opportunity to get your child to really talk. And when they do that, our biggest error, and mine too, that's why I know it so well, is we say, and this is the complaint I hear every single day, it doesn't matter which state I'm in, doesn't matter which country I am in, when the child tells a story to the parents at the dinner table, the parents interrupt the child and say, well, in my day, and then the child just tunes out, they roll their eyes, and they're gone. Right. I mean, they're physically there, right? But they're not in tune. If we could stop that, we would learn such valuable information because we can guide the child afterwards, because they tell stuff about things that happen at school that would make you, I think your blood would run cold if you heard it.
I always tell our kids, and kids who are in my program in peace learning and developing more compassionate listening, I always say, when you're listening compassionately, your sort of focus, your intent is to allow the other to kind of lighten their heart, to pour their heart out to you, to listen in a way that you're letting them empty their heart and their soul, and with kind intent.
And that does,
and they get it, because
they love it.
Kids are very conscious. I always say, our children are much more conscious than we are. Right? So if we just give these little subtle messages to them, they know what to do with it. Honestly, my little one who's 7, she gets it. Like before I even complete my sentence, she's like, and then next thing I know, she's putting it in action. So they are pure, they're innocent, they know about consciousness, compassion, kindness. It's us and the society and all the social learning factors that interrupt their natural, organic way of being a kind human being. So if we can pause and if we can, you're right, take time to unplug and put, the phones away and put, like, literally shift our focus from a more modern world into a more organic world where we used to be. As human beings, we used to take walks in the forest and, hold hands and look into each other's eyes and give each other's hugs and really be a good, compassionate listener. And so you're right, this is a very special time of the year where we're reminded of the essence of being connected, staying connected, and really having that spirit of kindness, compassion revived,
Yep.
rejuvenated.
I hope that, for all the moms out there that are listening, all of them, yes, please, all the moms that are listening, if you have your child that's really small still and she wants to give you something of hers, not necessarily with money, then my biggest suggestion, this came up over and over, a coupon. Let your child make a coupon, a beautiful coupon, whatever it wants to offer you. Because that's amazing. The child really loves doing that. And I know there are different ages for this stuff, but I tell you, when they do that, they're really proud of their gift. So it's the intangibles. I remember every intangible of my youth, not any tangible.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't remember what it was that we ate, but I remember the feeling, I remember the candlelight, I remember the laughter, the ticking of glasses, but the stories.
The stories,
The stories that were told. I literally can remember every single story, but nothing of the tangibles. And the kids, like you said, they're so conscious, they know that, but we forget it.
Right.
And then one of the huge things, let's prepare our children too for when they go back to school. Because one of the things that society puts on us is when they go back to school, they get asked, so what did you get for Christmas? And it's not like, what did you do for Christmas? No, what did you get? It's always that. And at the office, we have the same. What did you get? What did you get? What did you get? And that's where the problems start. No matter how innocent they are, if you would say, well, my mother wrote me a beautiful story about what I did when I was 3, the kids are just going to go, boring, right?
Right.
And that's our problem. So we need to shift our values.
That's right.
If we could shift our values and our etiquette, and if even one child brought it into the classroom, another child might say, hey, my mom said that too. But we need that one courageous instigator, I call that the instigator of kindness, to bring that into the classroom and say, well, I don't know what I got, but it was such an amazing evening.
Yeah, and with today's world, with social media and people communicating through social media, this is such a golden opportunity where you can take action photos. So if you're engaged in an act of kindness, you can capture it, you can hashtag it, dare to be kind, and other, kindness or
kindness or kindness lifestyle.
Don't blame,
anything.
take action.
Yeah,
kindness lifestyle. And so with those hashtags, you connect the community and you raise awareness and you bring mindfulness into the holiday seasons. And what we're trying to do here, raising awareness to be kind, dare to be kind. And if you're interested in inviting Gabriella to speak or talk to your school or be involved with you in your community and reach out to Gabriella, please join her on her website and gabriella.global, and she is just phenomenal. She is amazing. Her life story is amazing, inspiring, and just imagine her talking to your children at your schools and how her story can impact and influence raising awareness on tolerance, being kind, having more compassion, peace learning, and building a community that really connects and safe, and they really support each other in meaningful ways.
And just one more thing is that every month is a different theme. It's still always the Dare to Be Kind movement, but every month we try to fit in something. Like January is mentoring month. Sometimes I take what already exists in America as a national month, but because we have so many health things, I try to involve much more things that we can do on a regular basis in our lives.
Fantastic. So if you go to Gabriella's website, gabriella.global, she has monthly tips or ways that you can join and raise awareness on Dare to Be Kind campaign. And it's just so inspiring. So for those of you who are joining us all the way from Iran or Pakistan or India or the Middle East, با خانم گابریلا ون ری هستیم. ایشون فاوندر موومنت Dare to Be Kind هستن و اگر شما به وبسایتشون برین مشاهده میکنین که در هر ماه ایشون روی یک پروژه که مربوط میشه به مهربان زیستن یا مهربان بودن، Dare to Be Kind، این رو شما میتونین مطالعه بکنین و جوینشون بکنین و همکاری بکنین. چه خوب که یک همچین کاری در ایران یک موومنت جدیدی باشه. Now, do you have tribes or groups? So let's say a group of parents from Iran are watching and they're inspired and they really want to connect and they want to start their own Dare to Be Kind campaign in Iran.
Oh, they definitely could.
Yeah, how
well,
does that work?
The first thing that I would love is that they connect with me.
Okay.
And I'll actually make a page for them. I would love that. It's one of the huge things that I'm missing still. But I would love ambassadors that do exactly the same. I would give them the curriculum. They can adapt it. I would give them the tools and let's spread it.
Wonderful. I'm happy to join that campaign.
I would love to.
من میتونم با خانم گابریلا صحبت بکنیم که شاید یه پیج مخصوص برای مادر و پدرایی که در ایران هستن و دوست دارن این Dare to Be campaign رو، موومنت رو جلو ببرن، پیش ببرن. بسیاری مطالب مفید در رابطه با پیس لرنینگ و کارهای ایشون که raising awareness for kindness هستش در مدارس به خصوص. I know, school-based programs are a big passion of yours and mine too. I think it really starts from home, school connection, and planting those seeds of peace learning or seeds of compassion and kindness. And so when you travel, when you are on tours and traveling throughout the U.S. or globally, how do you connect to these communities and how do you stay in touch so that you're continuing the growth and the message and the cultivation of it?
I'm lucky. They do it with me. They contact me. Thank goodness.
That's awesome.
I'm. You can find me out there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that easy.
Yeah.
You do hashtag Dare to Be Kind. You can find me everywhere because, of course, I had to come up with a hashtag because my last name is so difficult. But even if you do hashtag Pick Up the Ball, you will find me everywhere. Okay. So one of the things that I always would love is to be able to come back actually much more often to a school. Now, resources is the biggest issue, of course, for schools. That's why I do so much stuff pro bono, and Bobby is looking mad at me, which is my manager. But I do a lot of schools pro bono because the truth is the message has to get out there. And what I'd rather see happening on a global level is to have the companies pay for it. Let's get some more sponsorships from all over the world to help to educate children. But it's a twofold. The children is one, the educators is one, and the parents. Let's not forget that, because there's one item that I find really important that kids tell me, which is I talk about etiquette a lot. I like to bring etiquette back. But etiquette online is something we've never heard of because it didn't exist in our day. I mean, I'm too old. I didn't grow up with internet. And so often we say, well, what is it? The teachers don't have time for that. I understand that. They're already stuck with a really heavy curriculum. So they don't have time to do that. Plus, they didn't come from that either. So we need innovative methods to come up with that inspire kids to bring an etiquette online. But one of the biggest problems for us with etiquette is that as parents, we don't follow it. So out there, we need to start this. And to start this means that we need to become active on our own timelines to delete and eradicate people that make really, really bad and nasty comments that are not necessary. I clean up my Facebook once a month because it is necessary.
Right.
Because if we are out there with a global message of awareness and mindfulness, we need to be the example. Because we cannot expect these children to follow in our footsteps if we don't walk the talk.
Sure.
And so that is a big issue that I see out there. Because when I look at an article, any article, whether it's the New York Times or the Huffington Post, what we see under the article would make my hair grow gray in 1 second.
Isn't that true? Yes, we've all been there.
The comments are terrible.
Yeah, it's
and
terrible.
I think it's, again, parents, I am the first person that is opinionated. I will tell you that honestly. I'm an opinionated little person. And that is okay. It's when the opinion goes into judgment, then we have a problem. That's where we need to draw the line.
And the type of communication, then it becomes hostile and rude and, back to etiquette. So Common Sense Media does a lot of this education, and many schools are now partnering up with Common Sense Media, which is wonderful because they integrate their curriculum and their teachings on how to have better etiquette with social media and messaging and all that. And you're right, we are modeling. So we have to be conscious of it. We have to be aware and have an ongoing conversation with our children. I do. We've started the conversation where, they might peek onto what I'm posting and they know, I produce MomTalk and they know my mission and why this is important to me. And so as I'm inspiring or, sharing my message with them, I also need to be conscious and aware on how we're doing this and the delivery of it and building a community and what that means. And, when we do have those comments and if they read those comments, how do we provide sort of media literacy in the relationship so they can have a more critical way of thinking and analyzing? Because they are going to be exposed to a lot of this misbehavior in their upcoming years. And so I believe the sooner we start this conversation on media literacy, just like watching television, challenging them and raising awareness and making more conscious efforts and choices, that they will internalize that. We are modeling for them, and that's a good way to teach.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things is, I see that in my own childhood because I take a lot of lessons, obviously, of what I've seen, and especially the different cultures in Europe too, is everything that I did as a child, and I think there are people listening that probably say, I do this every day, is we live in reactiveness to everything. And to tell you the truth, that's very tiring. So when people say, man, you have a lot of energy, it's because I don't react to everything anymore. And that doesn't mean that I'm not passionate. On the contrary, I decide where my passion lies.
Yes.
See, I think that if someone would have said to me, hey, Paki, go home, you're definitely not Dutch. Before 40, I would have reacted to that because I go into defense mode. But since that, I don't do that anymore because to me it's like, you have a right to think that. You really do. Now, if you want to have a conversation that's kind and respectful, I'll have it with you. If not, just let me know. And then I leave it up to them, and then the court is in, the ball is in their court, so to speak. Yes. But that is one of the things that I see. And we model that off to the children. Because when I ask kids, they say, but my dad does the same, or my mom. And I think that is a big key of why etiquette isn't happening, is the reactiveness. I call it action-reaction. If you really look at it, that's all we do all day long. We are such triggered human beings. And I didn't study psychology, but you see it when people go there. And so that's where the compassion should come in, because when they react, it actually has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them.
Yeah, and I've noticed, so our twins are now 9 and they're in 3rd grade. And I've noticed a shift sort of with the 3rd graders towards sort of testing and trying to understand boundaries, which is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
So knowing, who they are, how to be kind, how to have healthy boundaries so they know to treat the other with respect, or if the other person is not being respectful, how do they protect themselves and hold a healthy boundary so that their core identity and who they are is not being influenced or affected by the other. And so they are very aware of this and very curious about it. And so right about this age, around 9, I'm starting to see a shift or a curiosity or an interest in wanting to learn about healthy boundaries and wanting to be more conscious and wanting to take steps to be kind, but also how do they find a balance where they're kind and also working on themselves and their autonomy and becoming more independent, because they are more interested in being more independent. And we are living in a place or society where autonomy and independence is so inflamed, right? This is
very inflamed, and competition.
Yes.
I find the competition is the big problem within school.
Yeah.
So at 9, if I want to set my boundaries, I also learned that by seeing the other children in school, is we get rewarded, and maybe this is really the most best tip for today. We get rewarded for the ABCs. And it's rare that a teacher rewards because a child did something kind.
Yes.
And so I think we need to bring kindness. Let's make kindness fun. And when we reward the child, I'm not talking about a reward that's tangible.
Yeah.
I'm talking just about saying, hey, Patricia, you did something nice for Michael. I saw that. Thank you. That's it. That's how easy. But if we did that more, the teacher would do that more, children would notice. And they don't notice that because they say to me, well, kindness is kind of blah. It's for the goody two-shoes, Gabriella. And I understand where that comes from. And I said, no, let's make kindness a big deal. But they say, but I can't compete and be kind. And I said, yes, you can. Who says you can? And there again, we go into another topic, which is, how is success measured?
Yeah.
Is success measured by how we treat our friends in school? Or is success measured when you're that grader that gets the A+?
And it starts at homes, right? Just like anything else with the peace learning parenting, it starts at home. So if you as parents are valuing kindness and compassion, if you are acting in kindness and compassion, if you are modeling this, your children are learning through you, they're taking it back to school, and then you keep the conversation going where you ask your kids. So instead of asking them, how was your day, you can say, well, do you remember doing something kind today, or were any of your friends kind today? Or have the kindness conversation as a priority, as sort of the first thing that you talk about, you focus on, and you value. And I think when it's genuine, when it's heartfelt, when it's really deep in your soul,
the children feel it.
The children feel it, and you raise that type of consciousness and you reflect on that type of consciousness. And schools...
But children feel too much pressure today. And I'm not blaming anyone here.
Right.
It's just they really feel that.
Of course. Yeah.
I hear it everywhere. And I think, wow, they worry about things that are mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to worry about it at all.
I agree.
And so I'm not even talking about the new composite families that we have. I'm talking about really at school, that they excel. I mean, I never worried if I had an A or a B. I don't think the pressure was like that.
No.
And so when I see that a little girl needs to be a perfect athlete and a perfect in the classroom, and wow.
Yeah.
I just think by myself, that's a bit harsh.
It's too much,
and that is too much. And why don't we have this, that they can be really great children without the ABCs. And I'm not saying we don't need to learn, because teachers are a little worried that I might say that, but I'm not. I'm not saying that. I do know the value of school, but the value of relationships and how to treat one another is
and
number
also
one to
the
me.
integration of it all. I think because of the speed and the shift on achievement and the push sort of society that we are today, we are losing our focus on the value of a well-integrated human being.
And they see everything.
Yeah.
They see everything.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, I have a lot of parents that still don't believe that the smartphone is a computer. And it is. It's a full-fledged computer at their fingertips, which I would call a weapon in the wrong hands. I really, really believe that. Somewhere between, I would say, I'm going to make a guess. I would say about 4 years ago, 75% went up. I would say we're at 90. 90% of hands go up. That's how many kids have smartphones. And we're talking age 8. That's a lot. And then one of the things that I always like to test, just so that the teachers can see it, I always ask how many kids have Snapchat, Vine, all the, and boom, there go the hands. And none of them have Facebook, because they're not interested in that, because their parents have Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
So that's, and having that means that they can read about the elections. They can read. They don't really need you to answer a question. And so I kind of tried in my talks at school to bring the value of grandparents back, because I think grandparents have a valuable place in society, and very valuable for kids that feel that they can't talk to their parents. I always say to them, go to your grandparents. Yeah, no. I said, go. Because they're there. You know, if you have them, my goodness, they're willing and able to listen. They might not know about the technology gadget, but they're a wealth of information for these children.
And the link to the past and their history. And در رابطه با کانکت کردن یا رابطه برقرار کردن با نسل گذشته، خانم گابریلا توصیه میکنن که مادر بزرگ، پدر بزرگا و دایی‌ها و عمه‌ها و عموها، این فامیل خیلی ارزشمند هستن در رابطه با اینکه با بچه‌ها و نوه‌ها بتونن صحبت بکنن و قصه گویی بکنن و درد دل بکنن. Gabriella, it's been such a joy, such a pleasure having you on MomTalk. Promise that you'll be back and we will continue this conversation on kindness and Dare to Be Kind campaign. Please join Gabriella on this very important mission and movement, Dare to Be Kind campaign. And you can visit gabriella.global and join her community. I'm certainly joining, and I can't wait to see this work move towards different parts of the Middle East and Iran and all the audience of MomTalk. Please get in touch and please connect and
please do
raise awareness.
Yes.
Thank you. Until next time.
Thank you.
Bye.